Hey guys, this will be probably one of the last things that we'll do this year, and that's going over sentence pattern number 3. I'm going to explain what that is, but for this video, I'm just going to explain how to identify an indirect object. I'm going to explain what that is and how to go about finding it in a sentence. Right? All right, but first off, just kind of a review of the different types of sentences we've had. Sentence pattern number 1, that just is a sentence that contains a subject, noun, and a verb. So for example, Jake ran around the yard. Jake is the subject noun, and ran is the verb. And then around the yard is the prepositional phrase. Okay, that's sentence pattern 1. Sentence pattern 2 is the subject, noun, transitive verb, and a direct object. And here is an example of a sentence. The family ate breakfast in the hotel. Okay, so what is the subject noun? That is the word the family, because the family, they are performing the action, or they are doing the verb. The family ate. So when there's a transitive verb and a direct object, you have to ask what or who. So you have to locate the verb, and that would be the word ate, and they ate what? You can answer that question. They ate breakfast. So ate would be a transitive verb, and breakfast would be the direct object. Remember, direct objects are also nouns. Breakfast is a noun. All right, so that is sentence pattern 2. Now we're going to go on into sentence pattern 3. All right, and that's what the pattern looks like. There are 4 parts to it. There is the subject noun, like how we've had before. There's a transitive verb, which means you'll have to ask, what or who. And then you have a direct object, which is what we've had before. And then the new part is the indirect object. Like I said, I'm going to explain what that is and how to find it. All right, so this is what an indirect object is. First of all, an indirect object, which is labeled as IO, it is a noun or a pronoun. So whenever you look at a sentence and you're trying to find the indirect object or the IO, it has to be a noun or a pronoun. If it is a verb, you know it's not an indirect object because verbs are not an object. Remember, an indirect object, they're nouns. That's what they are. Okay? And how you find them is that they are located after the verb and before the direct object. So let's kind of do some practice with this. So to find an indirect object, okay, the first thing you got to do is you have to identify the direct object, which means you'll have to find the transitive verb, right? If there's a direct object, there's got to be a transitive verb. So you'll have to find that. And after you found the direct object, you have to ask yourself to whom or for whom, or to what or for what. So, and I'll get into that a little bit more. So let's kind of look at an example. Example, Libby gave me a book. Let's see. Sorry, I gotta find a pen. All right. Libby gave me a book. Okay. So let's kind of start easy. Who or what would be the subject of this sentence? Who or what is doing the action? Well, it'd be Libby. And Libby is what this sentence is about. Libby is the subject. So she would be the subject noun. Okay. And all these examples, they all have indirect objects. Okay. So Libby is the subject noun, and what does Libby do? What is the verb? Gave. Okay. And what is, if there's a direct object, that means there has to be a transitive verb. So I know gave is a transitive verb. So when you find so in order to find a direct object, what do you have to do? You have to ask yourself who or what. What did Libby give? She gave the book. So if she gave the book, that means the book is the direct object, because the book is what Libby is giving directly. That's why it's a direct object. Okay. And also, so here's the direct object. Now ask yourself, to whom? Lily gave the book to whom? She gave it to me. So therefore, this is an indirect object. Right? And A, of course, is an article adjective. Right? So that is how you do that. So in order to find the direct object, you have to identify the transitive verb. And once you've got that, you have to ask yourself to whom or for what. So once you've got the direct object, book, who did Libby gave the book to whom? And in this sentence, it would be to me. Right, so let's do another one. Example number 2. John brought them hot pizza. Start with your subject noun. Who is doing the action? John. They'd be the subject noun, okay? So we know there's a direct object. So there has to be a transitive verb. So that most likely is going to be this word brought. Okay. All right, so now we have to find the direct object. So in order to do that, we have to ask, John brought who or what? John brought what? John brought the pizza. Okay. All right, we've got the direct object. Now ask to whom or for whom or to what or for what. John brought pizza for whom or to whom? To them. Okay. And that is it. That's how you do it. And hot is just, of course, an adjective. All right. So I have 2 other examples here. He asked Mr. Smith a question. That's one example. And the next example is Philip wrote Becca a poem over the weekend. Right. So what I would like for you to do, you don't have to turn this in. You don't have to turn this in for homework or anything. But I would like for you to try to work these out on your own, and try to do them right now. So pause the video and see if you can do them on your own, and then listen to the rest of the video, and then unpause it and listen to the rest of the video. See if you got it right. All right. So this one, he asked Mr. Smith a question. First of all, who's the subject noun? Who's the sentence about? He. Because he is asking. He is doing the verb. Both of these have indirect objects, so we know the verbs have to be transitive verbs. Asked what or asked who? She asked a question. Now, some of you may think he asked Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith might be the direct object. Or you might think that brought them might be the direct object. Or some of you might think gave or me would be the direct object. But when you look at the sentence, what is being given? The book is being given. Libby isn't giving me to somebody, or John isn't bringing them to something or to somebody. John is bringing something to them, or Libby is giving a book to me, or he asked this question to who, or to whom. John asked this question to Mr. Smith, which makes Mr. Smith an indirect object. And the last one, Philip is the subject noun, wrote is the verb transitive. What did Philip write? He obviously didn't write Becca. That doesn't make any sense. He wrote a poem. Poem is the direct object, and Becca is the indirect object because Philip wrote the poem to whom or for whom? Becca. And of course, this is a prepositional phrase. All right, so just kind of look over those. Look in your textbook for any extra practice. And I'll see you later.